This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, I want to do this video for women. I did one for men yesterday. This is a health video for women that have uterine fibroids or that are dealing with fibroid issues. First and foremost, I feel that, I can be a subject matter on the expert because, I have someone close to me that has dealt with that, on 2 different occasions, and it's a serious thing. It's a serious issue, and it has to be taken of utmost severity and sincerity. Here's the thing with fibroids, and women, especially in the African American community or the African community, it's way more highly prevalent in that community than it is anywhere else. That's not to say that other women of other races can't get it. They can definitely get it as well too. But for some reason, it seems to affect black women more than anybody else. Here's the thing. A lot of it is attributed to the diet. Yes, I'm going to say that again. A lot of it is attributed to the diet. This is why it's part of my health video series. You have to understand there's a lot of foods that affect women's anatomy and that allows their body to overgrow estrogen and causes estrogen to be in excess. Things like dairy, things like sugar. And when I say sugar, I'm talking about highly processed, refined, simple sugars. These are not your best friends. And things like processed meats. These 3 are not your best friends. You want to stay away from them at all costs. And when I talk about processed meats, I'm talking about those cured porks and beefs, those beef turkeys. I'm talking about those porks and those turkeys and those meats that are in packages at the stores. You see the ones that they have in those deli packages? That's not good for you. That's processed meat. You should not be eating that because that can grow uterine fibroids in your body. It can grow these benign tumors. That's what they are in their true definition, what they are. They can grow these benign tumors in your body. They basically they wreak havoc, and they wreak danger and disaster to your estrogen system, and it causes it to overpopulate and grow in excess. Another thing, sugar, processed sugars, all of these different foods that you're eating, that are in these stores. Like I told you, if you can't pronounce the spelling of the name and it's a chemical-based food additive or food coloring or something like that they added to the food, things that have high fructose corn syrup, things of that nature, all of these different sugar, alcohols, you don't want to be eating that kind of stuff. You don't want those kind of problems, because when you eat these types of processed sugars in these cookies, in these candies, in these sodas, in these cakes, in these ice creams, they wreak havoc on your reproductive system. Women, especially black women, hear me and hear me well. Get rid of all forms and variations of processed sugars out of your diet. The other thing too, because I touched on the processed meats and I touched on the processed sugars, you have to be mindful of dairy. And when I say dairy, I'm talking about eating all these different forms of processed cheeses, all of these different forms of processed butter, margarine. These things are not good for your body. They wreak havoc on the female reproductive system. Don't take my word for it. Do the research. You'll see what I'm talking about. These things are where the benign tumors thrive. They love when you feed them these types of things. If anything, they're sitting there and they're saying more and more. Give me more of it, especially the sugar part. Stay away from those 3 types of foods. They are disastrous to your reproductive system and your reproductive health. This is what the FDA does not want you to know about. This is what the USDA does not want you to know about. This is what these top health organizations don't want you to know about. You know why? Because they want you to go into these hospitals and they want you to have these surgeries to remove the fibroids out of your system, because it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Oh yes, a lot of these doctors are working with a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, and they're working with a lot of these food companies to ensure that you guys continue to eat these nonsensical foods so that your reproductive systems can be out of whack, and you end up having these issues to where then you have to then go and get these procedures done. I'm telling you, hear me and hear me well. I'm speaking from a place of care, and this is why I do these health series videos, because I care about you folks out here in these streets, especially my black women. I care and I love you beautiful women. You know what I'm saying? And I care about all women and all the beautiful women that's out there. You guys need to take care of your reproductive systems because it's imperative. You know, women already go through so much, you know what I'm saying, through their menstrual cycle. That's already a chore and a job within itself. Some people it's a 9 to 5, damn near. So you could imagine now you got to deal with uterine fibroids because of the lack of knowledge and because of the ignorance and not knowing that these types of foods cause it. And I know it's hard because a lot of you out there love eating these types of foods, and it's going to be a hard change to make, but you got to make it. If your health is your number one wealth, then you got to make that change. There are no two ways around it. You got to have that, you know, like I said in this video, in the previous video when I talked about, you know, the losing weight part, and you have to look at yourself in the mirror naked, and you have to come to this unadulterated, cutthroat, and ugly truth about yourself. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to your reproductive systems. The question you have to ask yourself is, am I going to continue to eat these type of foods, or am I going to care about my reproductive system and I'm going to do what I got to do to make those changes? You need to make those changes. Those who have not had these issues or don't have these issues yet, make the changes now while you still have the chance. And those of you who have already gone through a surgical procedure, make those changes so that they don't come back. Because one thing you also know about uterine fibroids is they have the potential of coming back. And if you're eating these types of three different types of disastrous foods, 9 out of 10 times, if not 10 out of 10 times, they'll come back. I've seen it from personal experience. I saw it happen a second time from someone close to me, that it happened again, and it was because of lack of knowledge. And the doctor that performed, you know, the procedure did not, you know, advise her, you know, of her diet, didn't mention anything like that. Just pretty much was like, look, you know, there's a possibility that it could happen again. And it wasn't until she went and saw a natural alternative, you know, medicine doctor that was big on health, that explained the totality of that to her. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys, man. Your health is your number one wealth. You got to focus on you guys' health, man, because no one out here really cares about you guys like that. And if not too many people care about you, then I'm going to care about you, because I'm sick and tired of people being, you know, thrown to the wayside and falling to the wayside because of the lack of knowledge and them not knowing the truths. So hear me and hear me well. If you are suffering from these issues, or you have not suffered from these issues, and there's a potential that there's a possibility that you could have those issues, especially being a black woman, which is the highest epidemic for having those issues, I would recommend to stop eating those 3 types of foods. This is my take on it. This is my version of me showing that I care. And I'm hoping that you guys hear me and hear me well. This is He Knows His Sport. Checking out.